Welcome to the West Indian Women Network. I am Priscilla Ramcharan, originally from Trinidad and Tobago here in the United States. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, that like button, and share because you are going to want to stay tuned for this entire video. We have our first adventurer today, and I call her an adventurer because that's like the biggest word I could think of for all of the things that she does. So
A good
please
one.
welcome, yeah, and introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm Danielle Bachew. I am an avid spearfisher, mom entrepreneur, free dive instructor, and island girl from
Woohoo!
Trinidad and Tobago, born and bred, and uh, will have to be buried here.
Oh, amen to that. I also
Yes.
see a fillet and a fish, and the fish was like bigger than you. That's awesome. Well, welcome and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So, what inspired you? What motivated you to go about being this mompreneur and also being so out there in nature and doing your thing?
So it has been quite a journey because I took the traditional path originally, and I basically did what a Caribbean youth supposed to do, go to school, go to university, try and find a job, work your way through jobs, figure it out, and build a family while you're doing it. And I was pretty much doing it the traditional way, but I always felt like it really wasn't for me. So I would say it started with gut, and I had no clue what I was working towards. Like
Mm.
it wasn't that I had a specific dream that I was doing the steps to get to. I was just going with the flow day by day, and my gut was just pulling at me. And then eventually I couldn't possibly ignore it any longer. And so we got to here. In terms of my inspirations, I have always been an ocean person. Um, there's really no fancy way to say it. I feel completely and totally connected to the ocean. I feel like sometimes I feel kind of hippy dippy when I talk about it. But I just feel like my ancestors were probably like free divers because that would have been the way to hunt back in the day.
Right.
You had to free dive to spearfish. That's how we even know humans could do it. It was basically evolution, and it was just like any other species that would need to hunt. They would become aquatic if they are biologically like built to do so, and we were designed for it, and it was kind of luck and just growing up in a environment where we visited the beach a lot. And I think it was that we were visiting beaches that you're not really supposed to
Oops.
swim by. So it was like rough, but we knew how to handle ourselves. The family knew how
Right.
to handle themselves. So we kind of just grew up by the ocean. That if you did badly in a test, we go to the beach. If you did well in a test, we go to the beach. If you're feeling sick, if you're feeling well, like the beach was our place. So
Indeed.
that's how it started. And everything that I ever did, even on the traditional part, the beach was always a part of it. And I found myself trying to invite people to the beach, like if it was a religion, like come guys, this is
Yeah, let's
something
go.
healing. Yeah, try this. And I just feel like, the ocean is a cure. And when I found free diving, it healed me in so many ways. it
Mm.
was it was very therapeutic. It continues to be therapeutic,
Mhm.
because you basically kind of disappear into the ocean. You dissolve and intertwine and connect with the environment, and you kind of realize you are just a tiny little part of it, and there's no real hierarchy. We are all in this together, and there's a quiet that you get when you're
Mhm.
freediving or you're in the ocean, that the silence basically gives you the answers. I know I sound hippy dippy,
You
but
sure you're not a poet too?
that's what it gave me, because I was not this person before. I
Mm.
was a bit more erratic and not so sure about myself,
Right.
and confused. Everybody's trying to find their purpose in life. Everybody's trying to find their way. And I was very lucky to have heard what the universe was telling me and what my body was telling me. And then very lucky to have support
Yes.
to say, like, follow it. And where there was a bit of, wonder, like,
Mm-hmm.
you want to do this? You're doing kind of good at what you're doing, what you were doing before. You sure you want to leave that behind? So there were the questions, but there was also the support. So family and love created the Espera team, and I guess the Espera family, and now our Espera life.
That's wonderful. So you're saying that gut calling was the beach calling you.
Yes, it was the ocean calling me. I kind of feel like an advocate for the ocean.
Good.
Like the ocean was like, we need more people. Like, when a company needs to market their services,
Uh-huh.
here's what we can do for you. But they have to send out people to say, come and try this out. Let me give you a taste, and then you'll see if you want to come back.
I
So I'm
absolutely love that.
an ocean dealer.
You deal the ocean. But even here, your heart is always home. So here we're always looking for the next beach. Where are we going now? We want to swim. And with the girls, they taught themselves how to swim at a very young age. It was just a natural instinct to get into the water. So I really resonate with everything that you're saying. But if it didn't work out, you could always go back to what you were doing. So it wasn't
Yeah.
like you're completely leaving it behind, because I'm sure you still have your skills in that area too.
Yes.
Awesome.
Except Zoom, which you knew from before.
Shh. So tell us about really defining moment when you were out there that, just was like, wow.
Okay. So when I was introduced to freediving, I was introduced to spearfishing as well.
Mhm.
So it started with just being a regular ocean person. Then I was gifted by my mom. She did everything that she had to do to get my sister and I scuba certified, because she
Ooh.
knew we were interested in it and we wanted to see the underwater. We were very interested. And when we started with scuba, it that was the gateway. That was the gateway drug. So from scuba, when I was interested to introduce to freediving,
Okay.
I realized, okay, I really want to do something with it. I became more of a dealer, basically. I wanted to tell people, like, we could do this. Because I
Hmm.
really didn't know it was a thing. I would go to the beach and I would swim under the water and I would be holding my breath or snorkeling and see things. But
Right.
when I go under, I would think, like, okay, well, we just have to come up because that we're humans, so we have to come up. So when I was introduced to it, I realized, okay, I wanted to be more
Hmm.
to build a free dive community. And this was before I was even introduced to the fact that there is a very large free dive community.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so a world record holder, a national record holder as well, free diver came down, a lady named Ashley Chapman with her husband Ren,
Hmm.
and she was my first teacher, and she was the perfect uh, guide into
Hmm.
the freedive world. I've seen a lot of other freedive instructors maybe not handle it in the way that she guided us into the world, and I use those particular words because it's a gentle nudge into
Right.
the world. It's like an introduction. There are ways that you can teach somebody a sport or a skill, and you can be aggressive with it, but
Hmm.
she had a feminine touch as well as a maternal touch, and of course the representation that she offered, because all of the other divers that I knew were male.
Hmm.
She offered that glimpse into what could be, and I realized, but wait now,
Hmm.
this is a person who was introduced to freediving at an older age and then became a freedive instructor, and they're living this life. And of course, it was somebody from the US. So I'm thinking, okay, well, that's a foreigner thing. A brown Caribbean girl like me cannot, just quit my job and go live off of the sea. That's not a thing. So that took years to kind of understand, like, this could be a thing. But I took it slowly, slowly, and just started teaching and started enjoying it. And basically, every job that I had in the traditional career path, I
Hmm.
always made space to do this on the weekends. And it started out as a labor of love. And then I kind of realized, but wait now, Trinidad isn't as closed off to the ocean as I thought. Like, we have a lot of work to do in terms of how we perceive the ocean, but there were people who wanted to get into it, a lot more people than I expected. So I felt like, okay, that was the first calling. The feedback
Hmm.
and the support from Trinidad, it wasn't like foreigners trying to come and try freediving. It's Trinis, people like me when I was a kid. If this was available, we would have been on it. And it's a lot simpler and a lot more accessible than scuba as well, because you just don't need equipment. Like, it's you. Like, you don't even need a mask and snorkel to get into it. You just need,
Right.
and it's very mental. So it has nothing to do with your body type. It has nothing to do with your gender. It has nothing to do with your fitness level. Of course, that would help, but a lot of it and the
Mhm.
success and how far you could go is really mental. So it's accessible to anybody. And the more that I learned about it, the more that I felt like, oh, somebody needs to be doing
Yeah.
this.
You want to
And
share it?
yeah, and I was like, somebody in Trinidad, and there were a couple of people as well who agreed, and little by little, we started to grow a community. The community was being grown,
Hmm.
um, but I think the heads that were growing it at the time, of course, when there's a new generation, it comes out of social media. To grow it, you have to have a different approach.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
my team and the people at my level, they definitely started to help it grow. And with that growth, I realized, okay, again, the calling, like, this needs to be done. um and then I had my daughter,
Uh-huh.
and I
Congratulations.
was like, I definitely can't do it now.
Oh.
I definitely can't do it now. And interestingly, the same lady came back, and she was able to share with me um, her diving journey through pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
And again, there was no information,
Wow.
zero information on if you could dive when you're pregnant, how deep can you dive, how can you hold your breath, can you spearfish. There was no information. She had one little blog that I
Hmm.
found, but I got to speak to her firsthand, and I got to hear from her experience that she went to the right doctors. Because remember, she's a record holder, so she would have had access to
Right.
gaining that knowledge that wasn't just readily available. So I was, you know, gifted again the opportunity to have her let me know what was safe and what I can continue to do while pregnant. So all the thoughts that I had to shut down my life and shut down, Espera, and she was like, nah, girl, go through,
I
you,
love that. I
yeah,
love that.
you're designed. So, and the reason why I'm bringing her up as well is because that was a great part of it, was knowing that I was gifted the opportunities because I had a little insight and a little knowledge,
Hmm.
a little bit of representation. So if somebody is going to do it, like,
Might as well.
yeah, 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 yeah. Like, if somebody else, this was a thing too, if somebody else started to do it and they hadn't been through what I'd been through and how much I'd gained,
Hmm.
especially from being the only woman at the time, I was really gifted a lot of opportunities. There were pros and cons of being the only woman.
Right.
And of course, I'll focus more on the pros because people were interested. They were like, "This girl could dive," So I was invited to dive with divers that people don't usually just invite a random person to dive with them. They keep their spots, etc., etc.
Right.
So I was invited to dives, and there's also a thing where, and I'm not. This is just general.
Okay.
Like, if a fella goes to dive with a fella, he mightn't try to teach him to how to dive. He will just let him do his thing. Whereas when I would go, and this is something that was a pro and a con,
Hmm.
people will always try to teach me and guide me, which was kind of annoying sometimes. But there had to be a time where I realized, okay, this is gonna happen,
Right.
and you could find a way to deal with it, or you could get annoyed.
Right.
And people aren't gonna invite you if you're getting annoyed. So
Right.
this is where, like, you had to figure out how to, control whatever you're feeling in the sea, because there's nothing you can do about it when you're in the sea. So that's why it was very therapeutic as well. It really
Right.
makes you just figure out what's happening and detangle your thoughts before you do what you're about to do. So when people would make comments, if they make a weird comment that's like, nah, she didn't shoot that, da 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 da, I'll make a little joke, or I'll just tell them, well, yeah, and then educate a little bit, and it helped me as well. And then all of a sudden, now we're partners.
Ooh.
So
Hmm.
when I would start to make little connections and stuff. And the other thing is that people are nicer. They were nice. Like guys in the fishing depot and stuff, they would just be very polite, very nice, very helpful. So when they're trying to teach too, I would
Hmm.
just absorb. I would just absorb. And it I was able to gain a lot from people just helping me out. And then I thought, okay, let's turn it into something. I
Absolutely.
can't
Hmm.
remember what I was telling you, how we got there, but yeah.
That is okay. And you know what? That is just what it is. When you're new in the industry, everybody knows more than you.
Mhm.
But then you get to that point where you know what they see that you know all you need to know and you're still willing to learn more. So I can really feel your passion for what you do. And it seems like you were very aligned. And then to meet this woman to guide you along, it just seems like it flowed perfectly for you.
It
So
it seems so. Yes, it seems so. But it was like,
well, you know, on the
yeah,
inside it's like this, but what they see on the outside, like, oh,
yeah,
she got it going on. But you don't know how hard we work to get where we are.
yeah. It was
Totally.
uh, it was a mountain. It was Everest. It was Everest. It continues to be, but it's exciting because I mean, if you're gonna do something with your life, might as well, climb
That's
Everest.
very exciting. We love the beach, we love the water. So as soon as my feet hit the island, I'm coming to you.
Good, good. I have you covered. I have you covered.
It's so exciting. So then I dare ask what is your motivation each morning to get up and do what you do?
That's a very good question. I'm glad I have the answer because I
Oh,
thought of it
good.
yesterday. Because coming down to the end of the year, you kind of feel the weight of the year,
Yes,
and then
yes.
when the new year starts, you have your resolutions. But sometimes you need to get in the zone, especially as an entrepreneur, to
Hmm.
figure out, okay, well, what is fueling you every morning?
Right,
What is making you get up? Because nobody's gonna call you and say, "Hello, are you coming to work today?" It's you.
right.
So that motivation was actually the same thing that helped me to fully quit my job and just start this new life,
Hmm.
which was there is no alternative.
Mm,
I.e., if this is what you want to do, if you allow a plan B or a fallback or anything like that, you're not gonna put your all into it.
right.
So, and every time I think about what it is I do, and I have no clue what am I know you're supposed to have specific goals so you could get to them. I don't know what they are. I'm figuring this out. I'm figuring this out one step at a time every day. And I'm just like, there is no alternative. There's no other job that I want to do. There is no like, well, maybe I could just go back to what I was doing before, or
Right.
maybe I could go do a new course and try this. I can't think of anything other than this. And even while I'm doing the most challenging things, like if
Yeah.
I had to clean fish and there's a lot of fish, I would just think like, yeah, but you really wouldn't rather be in an office or,
Sitting behind Zoom.
sending emails. So even like all of the most challenging days, I think you still are more excited to do this than
Right.
anything else. There is no alternative. So it's this. So this is what we do
That's
it,
it. I
Yeah.
love your honesty because it is so true. I feel like a lot of us, we get sucked into that. We need goals, we need a plan, we need this, that, and the other. But in reality, we're just still figuring it out as we go. So
Yeah.
that is really well said. And
Thank you.
why not? Right? Why
Yeah.
not keep going
Why not?
if that makes you happy? So this is incredible. You have to come back and let us know, what we're doing. Of course, I'll put your links for the audience to get in touch with you and you can take them on fabulous adventures too. Do you have a final message for our viewers?
So I actually realized I did not even say what I do. So my my business is Espera, which
Hmm.
is built up with Espera Charters, which does ocean adventures through classes, tours, and events for freediving, spearfishing, and snorkeling, and just basically anything in the ocean. And then Espera Seafood focuses on providing fresh, frozen, sustainably sourced, premium seafood delivered to your door. So you get the convenience and the comfort of having it portion sized, just the right cuts and the right selection of species for you and for your family delivered right to your door. Um, my final message to everybody out there is to go with your gut. Like, if the universe and your body is telling you something, who are you
Listen.
to shut it down? Like, what do you know? Listen. Yeah, that's my final message.
Well said. And so I'll put all of your information, and I hope you definitely enjoy the adventures of the audience. It's international, so if you need to fly to Trinidad, go, and
Yes,
she'll be
come,
waiting for
come
you.
visit us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This was incredible, and I'll talk
Thank
to you
you.
soon.
All right, cool.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.